Hey guys, today we're going to live a day that very few men survive to tell about. You're going to experience a single ordinary day in the life of a high scaler working on the Hoover Dam in Black Canyon, Nevada in 1934. My name is Jack Tierney. I'm 28 years old, and I dangle from ropes 500 feet above the Colorado River, chipping loose rock off canyon walls with a jackhammer. They call us high scalers, though some prefer human flies or powder monkeys. Whatever you call us, we're the men who make sure nothing falls on the crews below. So before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of immersive history. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is, and especially if you've got connections to construction work, mining, or any of the big dam projects of the 30s. Those of you who worked heavy construction or remember the Depression, I'd love to hear how this compares to your experience. Now settle in, get comfortable, and let's step back in time together. Close your eyes if you want. You're about to live a day that someone actually lived 90 years ago. I wake up before the alarm. Always do. My body knows when it's 4:30, even in this windowless room in Boulder City. The clock's just a formality at this point. I'm lying on a thin mattress in a government dormitory, sharing this 12 by 14 foot room with 3 other high scalers. The walls are plywood, the ceiling is corrugated metal. In summer, this room is an oven. In winter, it's an icebox. Right now, in late March, it's about perfect, which means I only wake up cold instead of freezing. The other men are still sleeping. I can hear Tommy Cassidy snoring in the bunk above me. Sounds like a cement mixer with a bad bearing. Frank O'Brien's across the room, sleeping quiet, like he's dead. Mickey Sullivan's bunk is empty. He's on graveyard shift this week, probably just getting back to the room about now after his 12 hours on the night crew. I swing my legs off the bunk and my feet hit the cold plywood floor. The shock wakes me up the rest of the way. I'm wearing long underwear, always sleep in it this time of year, and I reach for my work pants hanging on a nail by my bunk. They're canvas dungarees, so stiff with dried concrete dust and sweat that they could probably stand up on their own. I pull on the pants. They're cold and rough against my skin. Next comes my work shirt. Same canvas material, same permanent layer of dust. I've got 2 sets of work clothes total. I wash one set every Sunday in the big concrete sinks behind the dormitories. By Monday morning, they're dry and ready to get filthy again. This is my dirty set. Tomorrow I'll switch to the clean one, and next Sunday I'll wash these. That's the system. My boots are under the bunk. I pull them out and sit back down on the thin mattress to lace them up. These are good boots. Red Wing Lager boots I bought in San Francisco before I came down here 2 years ago. I paid $18 for them, which was almost 2 weeks' wages at the time. Best investment I ever made. The leather's scarred and stained, the soles are worn thin in spots, but they're still solid. I've had them resoled 3 times at the cobbler shop in Boulder City. They'll probably outlast me at this rate. I stand up and walk to the small mirror nailed to the wall. The man looking back at me is lean and sun-dark, with lines around his eyes from squinting in bright canyon light. I'm 28, but I look older. Everyone here looks older than they are. I run my hand over my jaw, stubbled, rough. I'll shave tonight after work. Right now, I've got to get moving. I grab my lunch pail from under the bunk. It's a standard tin pail with a lid, the kind that swings on a wire handle. Inside, 2 sandwiches wrapped in waxed paper cheese and onion, because cheese doesn't spoil in the heat, an apple, and a thermos of water. I packed it last night before bed. You don't skip that step. The company cafeteria sells sandwiches and coffee at the work site, but they charge 30 cents for what I can make for a nickel. When you're making $4 a day, base pay $5.50 if you're high scaling, you count every penny. I grab my work gloves from the shelf above my bunk. They're leather, thick and stiff, the palms worn smooth from gripping rope and jackhammer handles. I tuck them into my back pocket. Then I reach for my most important piece of equipment, my hat. It's not just any hat. It's a modified miner's hard hat. A canvas cap that's been shellacked so many times, it's hard as iron. The shellac is what we use to waterproof the canvas, but it also makes it rigid enough to protect your skull if something falls on you. The hat's got a small brim all the way around, and I've painted my identification number on the front in white paint, 372. That's me, number 372 on the payroll. I settle the hat on my head. It feels heavy and familiar. Then I pick up my lunch pail and head for the door. Outside, the air is cold and dry. Boulder City is still dark, but there's a faint lightning in the east over the mountains. The town is laid out in a perfect grid. Government planning, with dormitories, mess halls, administration buildings, all built to the same efficient design. Everything's temporary, built cheap and fast to house the 6,000 men working on the dam. When the dam's finished, they say Boulder City will become a real town. Right now, it's just a labor camp with better plumbing than most. I'm not alone on the street. Other men are emerging from the dormitories, lunch pails in hand, heading toward the bus loading area. Nobody talks much this early. We're all half asleep, moving on autopilot toward another day's work. I recognize most of the faces. Men I work with, men I drink with on paydays, men whose names I might not know, but whose faces are as familiar as my own reflection. The bus is already there, engine rumbling. It's one of 6 that ferry workers from Boulder City down to the dam site 7 miles away. The bus is a massive thing, specially built to handle the rough canyon road. It's got oversized tires and reinforced suspension, because the road down to the dam would shake a normal bus to pieces in a week. I climb aboard and find a seat near the back. The seats are hard wooden benches. No cushions, no padding. You sit and you hold on. I set my lunch pail on the floor between my boots and lean back against the wooden seat back. Through the windows, I can see more men approaching, streams of them converging on the bus from different dormitories. Tommy Cassidy climbs on, spots me, and plops down next to me. He's wide awake now, grinning like he always does. "Morning, Jack," he says. "Ready for another beautiful day in paradise?" "Paradise," I repeat, deadpan. "That's what they're calling it now." "Sure," Tommy says. "Clean air, scenic views, chance of death. What more could a man want?" That's Tommy. Always joking, always smiling. He's been high-scaling almost as long as I have. We started the same month, 2 years ago, both of us fresh off the breadlines in San Francisco. We figured if we were going to risk our necks for a paycheck, we might as well get paid decent money for it. The bus fills up. When every seat is taken and men are standing in the aisle holding onto overhead straps, the driver, a leathery old guy named Henderson, grinds the bus into gear and we lurch forward. The ride down to the dam site takes about 20 minutes. 20 minutes of bouncing, swaying, grinding gears, and dust. The road is graded gravel, maintained by a road crew that fights a losing battle against erosion and washouts. In rain, which happens maybe twice a year, the road becomes a mud slick. In summer, the dust is so thick you can't see the bus ahead of you. This morning, it's just cold and rough. I brace my feet against the floor and let my body absorb the motion. Around me, men are waking up fully now, talking in low voices, making plans for after work, complaining about their aches and pains. Construction work ages you fast. Every man on this bus has something wrong with him. Bad knees, bad back, bad shoulder, bad everything. You don't work heavy construction for long without accumulating injuries. I've been lucky so far. My knees ache in the morning and my hands are permanently cramped from gripping jackhammers, but I've got all my fingers and toes, no broken bones, no concussion. That puts me ahead of probably 60% of the men on this bus. The sky is getting lighter now. We're dropping down into Black Canyon, following the switchbacks that descend from the plateau down to the river level. Through the bus window, I catch glimpses of the dam itself, a massive concrete wedge growing taller every day, filling the canyon like a cork in a bottle. Even after 2 years, the sight still catches me. It's enormous. They're building the tallest dam in the world, 726 feet from bedrock to crest. When it's finished, it'll create a lake 115 miles long. They'll call it Lake Mead. Right now, it's just a construction site that happens to be rewriting the rules of civil engineering. The bus grinds to a stop at the lower staging area. We pile off, lunch pails in hand, and head toward the time clock shack. You have to clock in before 6 a.m. or you don't get paid for the day. No exceptions. 6,000 men work here, and 6 companies, the consortium of construction firms running the project, keeps track of every single one of us down to the minute. I pull my time card from the rack, number 372. I slide it into the clock and pull the lever. The machine stamps it with a heavy clunk. 5:47 a.m. right on time. Now I head to the high scaler shack. This is where we suit up, where we get our assignments for the day, where we prepare for the work that kills about one man every month on average. Those are good odds for this project. On the whole dam, they lose about one man per week. High scalers have better survival rates than most crews. The tunnel crews have it worse. The concrete crews have it worse. We just have farther to fall. The high scaler shack is a large temporary building made of wood and corrugated metal, positioned near the base of the canyon wall. Inside, it smells like sweat, leather, rope, and oil. The walls are lined with pegs for hanging equipment. There are benches for sitting while you prepare. There's a supply area where you can get replacement rope, new drill bits, extra charges of dynamite if you're doing blast work. Frank Sullivan is already there, the high scaler foreman. Frank's 45 years old, been high scaling since he was 20. He worked on bridges in New York, on buildings in Chicago, on dams in California. If there's something built by men hanging from ropes, Frank probably worked on it. He's a quiet guy, doesn't waste words, doesn't tolerate fools. If Frank tells you to do something, you do it, because Frank keeps you alive. "Morning, Tierney," Frank says when he sees me. "Morning, Frank. You're on the Arizona wall today, Sector 7, same as yesterday." I nod. That's the assignment I expected. Sector 7 is about 400 feet up the canyon wall on the Arizona side. We've been working that section for the past week, chipping loose rock, drilling anchor holes for the scaffolding that'll eventually support the concrete forms. Steady work, relatively safe as these things go. "Who am I paired with?" I ask. "Donahue." That's good news. Mike Donahue is solid. He's been high scaling longer than me, knows what he's doing, doesn't take stupid risks. Your life depends on your partner when you're hanging 400 feet up. A bad partner can kill you as easily as bad rope or loose rock. I head to my locker, a simple wooden box with my number painted on it, and open it up. Inside is my harness. The harness is leather and canvas webbing, designed to distribute your weight if you fall. It goes around your chest and under your arms, with a heavy D-ring at the center of your back where your safety line attaches. The leather is darkened with sweat and worn smooth in places from months of use. I inspect it carefully every morning. Any crack, any weak spot, any frayed stitching, and I take it to the equipment shop for repair or replacement. You don't skimp on safety equipment, not when your life literally hangs from it. I pull the harness on over my work shirt, adjust the straps, buckle everything tight. The weight of it is familiar and reassuring. Then I grab my gloves from my pocket and pull them on. The leather is stiff and cold this early in the morning. They'll warm up and soften once I start working. Mike Donahue appears beside me, already harnessed up, carrying 2 coils of rope over his shoulder. He's maybe 35, Irish by way of Boston, with red hair going gray at the temples and a face like weathered granite. "Morning, Jack," he says. "Morning, Mike. We're on 7. "I know, same as yesterday. Let's grab our gear and get up there before the sun turns that wall into a griddle." That's the truth. The canyon walls face east and west. The Arizona wall. Our wall faces east, which means it catches the morning sun. By 10 a.m., that rock face will be hot enough to fry eggs on. By noon, it'll be unbearable. We do our best work in the early morning before the heat becomes a factor. We walk out of the shack and head toward the base of the canyon wall. The dam site is fully awake now. Trucks are rumbling. Compressors are chugging. Men are shouting instructions over the noise. The massive cableway system, the overhead transport cables that move materials and equipment across the canyon, is already operating, carrying buckets of concrete, steel reinforcement, tools, supplies. The whole canyon echoes with industrial noise. At the base of the Arizona wall, there's a staging area for high scalers. This is where the ropes are kept, where the bosun's chairs are stored, where we load up with the tools we'll need for the day. A bosun's chair is exactly what it sounds like. A plank of wood suspended from ropes that you sit on while you work. Some high scalers prefer to work standing in their harnesses, just hanging from the rope. I prefer the bosun's chair. Gives you a place to rest, something to brace against when you're operating a jackhammer. Mike and I check our ropes. This is the most important part of the morning. These ropes are our lifelines. We inspect every inch of them, looking for fraying, cuts, weak spots, anything that could fail under load. The ropes are manila hemp, 1-inch diameter, rated to hold several thousand pounds. But rope degrades, sunlight weakens it, friction weakens it, sharp rock edges can cut it, water can rot it. We check them every single time. My rope looks good. I coil it properly and sling it over my shoulder. It weighs about 30 pounds. Mike does the same with his rope. Then we load up our tool bags. I'm carrying a 20-pound pneumatic jackhammer. We call them whittle makers for a reason. Plus a chisel, a drilling bar, a canteen of water, and extra drilling bits. All told, I'm carrying about 60 pounds of equipment in addition to my body weight. This is before I've even left the ground. We walk to the access point. This is where the permanent ladders begin, bolted into the canyon wall. The ladders go up about 100 feet to the first platform. From there, we'll use our ropes to descend to our work area. High scaling is a strange job. You climb up to go down. Mike goes first. I follow. The ladder is steel, bolted to the rock face at 10-foot intervals. Each rung is slightly concave from years of boots stepping on it. I climb steadily, hand over hand, the tool bag bouncing against my hip, the rope heavy across my shoulder. Don't look down. That's the first rule. Don't look down until you're secured on your rope and ready to descend. The climb takes about 10 minutes. By the time I reach the first platform, my legs are burning and I'm breathing hard. The platform is a wooden structure about 8 feet by 8 feet, bolted to the canyon wall with expansion anchors. There are several of these platforms at different heights along the wall. They serve as staging areas for the high scalers. Mike is already tying off his rope to the anchor point, a massive steel eye bolt sunk 4 feet into solid rock. I do the same with my rope, using a bowline knot. It's a strong knot that won't slip under load, but can be easily untied afterward. I tie it, check it twice, then give it a hard pull to test the anchor. Solid as the rock itself. Now comes the interesting part. I clip my harness to the rope using a steel carabiner. The carabiner has a screw gate that locks it closed. I screw the gate shut and double check it. This is what stands between me and a 400-foot fall. I check it again, and again. You can't be too careful. Mike is already over the edge, rappelling down to our worksite. I can hear his boots scraping against the rock face. I take a breath, walk to the edge of the platform, and look down. 400 feet of vertical rock face, the Colorado River. A thin brown ribbon far below, construction sites spread out like a model railroad set. Trucks the size of ants, men the size of dots. The view is spectacular and terrifying in equal measure. I grab the rope with both hands, lean back into my harness, and step backward off the platform. The harness catches me. I'm hanging in space now, supported by 1-inch rope and a steel bolt. The harness digs into my chest and under my arms. I can feel my weight distributed across the webbing. This is the moment where you either trust your equipment or you don't. I trust mine. I trust mine. I begin to descend, letting rope slide through my gloved hands, controlling my speed with grip pressure. Too fast, and you'll slam into a rock outcropping. Too slow, and you'll never get any work done. You develop a rhythm. Slide, grip, slide, grip. Your legs work against the rock face, pushing off, walking backward down the wall. It's called rappelling, though we just call it going down. The rock face is rough under my boots. This is volcanic rock mostly, with some sedimentary layers. It's been blasted and chipped and drilled until it's reasonably smooth, but there are still plenty of handholds and footholds. As I descend, I'm looking at the wall, reading it, checking for loose sections that need to be removed. That's my job. High scalers are the advance crew. We go down the wall first, before the scaffolding goes up, before the concrete forms are installed, before anything else happens. We remove loose rock, we drill anchor holes, we set explosives when needed, we make the wall safe for everyone who comes after us. It's dangerous work, but somebody has to do it, and they pay us $5.50 a day for it. That's $1.50 more than most crews make. There's a reason for that extra $1.50. I descend about 100 feet and reach our work area. This is Sector 7, a section of wall about 50 feet wide and 30 feet tall. Yesterday, Mike and I cleared the loose rock from the upper half. Today, we're working the lower half. The goal is to have this whole sector ready for the scaffolding crew by the end of the week. I position myself on my bosun's chair, a simple wooden plank attached to my rope, and get comfortable. Well, as comfortable as you can be hanging 400 feet above the ground. The chair spreads my weight out, gives me a stable platform to work from. I can sit on it, brace against it, even doze on it if I'm so inclined, though I generally don't recommend that. Mike is positioned about 20 feet to my left, already working. I can hear the rattle of his jackhammer echoing off the canyon walls. Time to get to work. I pull the jackhammer from my tool bag. It's a pneumatic model, powered by compressed air. The air line runs from a compressor on the canyon floor, all the way up here, 400 feet of rubber hose suspended from anchors along the wall. The hose weighs more than the tool itself. I grab the hose, attach it to the jackhammer with a quick connect fitting, and give it a test burst. The jackhammer explodes to life. D, bray, AP, and the vibration runs through my arms into my shoulders. After 2 years, I'm used to it, but it never stops being jarring. The noise is incredible, echoing off the canyon walls, multiplying itself until it sounds like a dozen jackhammers instead of one. I press the bit against the rock face, pull the trigger, and start chipping away at a section of loose basalt. Rock chips fly, dust billows. The vibration pounds through my body. This is the work. This is what I do. 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. I hang from a rope and chip rock off a canyon wall. Time passes. When you're on the wall, you lose track of it. There's just the work: chip, chip, chip. Move to the next section. Chip, chip, chip. Check your rope. Move again. Chip, chip, chip. The sun climbs higher. The wall gets warmer. The noise continues. I take a break after about an hour. My arms are tired and my hands are numb from the vibration. I shut off the jackhammer and just hang there for a moment, letting my body recover. The silence is almost shocking after the constant noise of the tool. I can hear the wind now, whistling through the canyon. I can hear Mike's jackhammer off to my left. I can hear the general roar of the construction site below. Trucks, equipment, men shouting. I pull out my canteen and take a long drink. The water is warm. It was cold when I filled it this morning, but after hours hanging in the sun, it's reached air temperature. Still, it's wet, and that's what matters. I drink about half the canteen and save the rest for later. While I'm resting, I survey the work we've done so far. The wall looks better already, cleaner, more stable. We've removed probably 2 tons of loose rock this morning. It's all down at the base of the canyon now, in a pile that'll eventually be hauled away. Every chunk of rock that comes off this wall is one less chunk that could fall on someone's head later. That's how I justify this job to myself. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, the pay could be better. Yes, I could be doing something safer, but this work matters. We're building something important here. The Hoover Dam is going to change everything for the Southwest. It'll control flooding on the Colorado River. It'll provide irrigation water for farms. It'll generate electricity for cities. When it's done, people will look at it and marvel at what men can accomplish when they put their minds to it. And I'll know that I was here. I was one of the men who made it possible. That counts for something. I clip the canteen back onto my harness and pick up the jackhammer again. Time to get back to work. Those of you who worked construction or heavy industry will know what I'm talking about. That rhythm you fall into, where the work becomes almost automatic. Your body knows what to do without your brain having to think about it. That's where I am now. Position the tool, pull the trigger, work the area, move, repeat. The hours flow past. Around 11 a.m., I hear the whistle. That's the signal for the first break. Lunch won't be for another hour, but we get a 15-minute break mid-morning. I secure my jackhammer to my harness, make sure everything's tied off, and just sit there on my bosun's chair, 400 feet up, hanging in space. The view from up here is something else. To the east, I can see across the desert toward Boulder City. To the west, I can see down Black Canyon toward where it opens up into the broader valley. Below me, the construction site sprawls across the canyon floor. A maze of equipment, materials, temporary buildings, rail lines, roads. And in the center of it all, the dam itself, growing taller every day. They're pouring concrete 24 hours a day now, in rotating shifts. The concrete comes down from the mixing plant on the canyon rim via an elaborate cableway system, descends in 8 cubic yard buckets, gets poured into forms, and slowly, the dam rises. They're pouring about 600 buckets a day. Each bucket weighs about 20 tons. The math is staggering. Mike swings over on his rope to join me. He's got his lunch pail with him. We hang there together, 2 men suspended in space, eating our sandwiches 400 feet above the Colorado River. Hell of a commute, Mike says, pulling out a sandwich. Sure beats working in an office, I reply. He grins. You ever work in an office, Jack? Once, 3 weeks, accounting firm in San Francisco. Thought I'd go crazy sitting at a desk all day. Yeah, I can see that. You're more the hanging off a cliff type. Apparently. We eat in comfortable silence. My sandwich is exactly what I expected. Cheese and onion, slightly squashed. The bread a little dry. It tastes fantastic. When you're working this hard, burning this many calories, even simple food becomes a pleasure. You hear about Paulson? Mike asks after a while. No. What happened? Took a 30-foot fall yesterday. Rope caught him, but he swung into the wall. Broke his arm. I wince. He okay otherwise? Yeah, he's done for a few weeks though. Doc says 6 weeks minimum for the arm to heal. 6 weeks without pay. That's the part that hurts worse than the arm. This is the reality of construction work in 1934. You get hurt, you go home. No workers' compensation, no insurance, no safety net. You heal up on your own dime, and when you're ready to work again, you come back, if there's still a job available. Some men can't afford to get injured. They work through sprains, through minor breaks, through infections, because stopping means losing income they can't replace. I've been lucky. 2 years without a serious injury. Some scrapes, some bruises. One time I took a rock chip to the face that left a scar under my left eye. But no breaks, no falls, no hospital time. I'm either skilled or lucky, or both. Probably both. The whistle blows again. 15 minutes is up. Time to get back to work. Mike swings back to his section of wall. I stow my lunch pail, pick up my jackhammer, and resume chipping rock. The afternoon continues. The sun is high now, and the canyon wall is getting hot. The rock radiates heat. The air shimmers. Sweat runs down my face, soaks my shirt, makes my gloves slippery inside. This is the hardest part of the day. The heat. In summer, it's unbearable. Men have passed out up here from heat exhaustion. In July and August, they start work at 4 a.m. just to get a few hours in before the heat becomes deadly. Today, in late March, it's merely uncomfortable. I'm hot, I'm tired, my arms ache, but I'm functional. I keep working. Chip, chip, chip. The pile of loose rock at the base of the canyon grows larger. Around 1 p.m., the lunch whistle blows. This is the big break, 30 minutes to eat, rest, and recover. I secure my equipment and rappel down to the base of the canyon. My legs are shaky when I hit solid ground. After hours of hanging in a harness, walking on flat ground feels strange. The lunch area is a cleared space near the base of the wall with some wooden benches and a water station. Men are gathering, sitting down, opening lunch pails, passing around cigarettes. I find a spot on a bench and sit down heavily. My whole body aches. I pull out my second sandwich and eat it slowly. Around me, men are talking, complaining about foremen, making plans for the weekend, telling jokes, discussing the news. Someone mentions that a dust storm is supposed to hit tomorrow. Someone else says the concrete crews hit a record yesterday. 460 buckets poured in 24 hours. The conversation flows around me like water, and I let it wash over me without really engaging. I'm tired. Not just physically tired, that's a given, but tired in a deeper way. 2 years of this work is starting to wear on me. I'm not sure how much longer I can keep doing it. The money's good, but money doesn't mean much if you don't live to spend it. But then, what else would I do? Before I came here, I was unemployed in San Francisco, standing in bread lines, sleeping in a flop house, trying to scrape together enough money for meals. The depression hit everyone, but it hit construction workers especially hard. Nobody was building anything. Nobody was hiring. Men with skills and experience were begging for work. When word got out that the government was building a dam on the Colorado River, that they were hiring thousands of men, I jumped at the chance. So did 50,000 other desperate men. They could only hire about 6,000. I got lucky. I got a job. I'm not giving it up easily. The whistle blows. Lunch is over. Back to work. I haul myself to my feet, walk back to the base of the wall, and start the climb back up to my rope. The afternoon shift is always harder than the morning. You're already tired, the heat is worse, and you know you've got hours of work still ahead of you. But you push through. You do the work, because that's what you're here for. I clip back onto my rope, descend to my workstation, and pick up the jackhammer. The tool feels heavier than it did this morning. My arms protest when I pull the trigger. But the work needs to be done, so I do it. Chip, chip, chip. Hours pass. The sun begins to descend toward the western rim of the canyon. The shadows lengthen. The air cools slightly. My canteen is empty. My hands are completely numb. I'm operating on autopilot now, my body doing the work while my mind drifts elsewhere. I think about home, not Boulder City. That's not home, that's just where I sleep. I mean, home, San Francisco, the apartment I shared with 2 other guys before I came down here. I wonder if they're still there, if they found work, if they're doing okay. I haven't written in months. Haven't received any letters either, but that's probably because I haven't given anyone my address here. The truth is, I don't know if I have a home anymore. Home is where you build a life, where you put down roots, where you plan a future. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just surviving day to day, paycheck to paycheck, hanging from a rope and chipping rock. At 4:30 p.m., the final whistle blows. Quitting time. The most beautiful sound in the world. I shut off the jackhammer and just hang there for a moment, letting the silence sink in. My ears are ringing. They'll ring for hours. By tomorrow morning, the ringing will fade, and then I'll come back and do it all again, and the ringing will start up once more. It's a cycle that never ends. I secure all my equipment to my harness, can't leave anything up here overnight, and begin the ascent. Climbing the rope is harder than descending. You're pulling your entire body weight, plus equipment up, using just your arms and legs. There are techniques. You can use foot loops, you can use mechanical ascenders, but most of us just climb hand over hand, using leg strength to push off the wall. By the time I reach the platform, I'm breathing hard and my arms are shaking. Mike is already there, coiling his rope. We don't talk, we're both too tired. We just do the work, coil the ropes, stow the equipment, check everything for tomorrow. Then we climb down the ladder to the canyon floor. My legs are trembling on each rung. When I finally step onto solid ground, I have to stand there for a moment just to convince my body that I'm done climbing. The time clock shack is crowded with men clocking out. I wait my turn, pull my time card, insert it into the clock, and pull the lever. 4:42 p.m., another day done. I walk to the bus loading area. The buses are already there, engines running, waiting to take us back to Boulder City. I climb aboard, find a seat, and collapse onto the hard wooden bench. Other men pile on, and soon the bus is full and we're grinding back up the canyon road toward town. The ride back is quieter than the morning ride. Everyone's too tired to talk. We just sit there, swaying with the motion of the bus, covered in dust and sweat, thinking about showers and dinner and sleep. Back in Boulder City, I drag myself off the bus and head straight for the dormitory. Inside, I drop my lunch pail on the floor by my bunk, peel off my work clothes stiff with sweat and dust, and grab my towel and a bar of soap. The shower building is 100 yards away. The showers are communal. 20 shower heads in one large tiled room, always crowded this time of day. I find an empty shower head, turn on the water, and just stand there for a long moment as lukewarm water sluices away the day's grime. The water at my feet runs brown with rock dust. I soap up, rinse off, soap up again. It takes 2 rounds to feel clean. My hands hurt when I flex them. My shoulders ache. My legs are sore. This is normal. This is every day. After the shower, I walk back to the dormitory wearing clean clothes, a fresh pair of dungarees and a cotton shirt. My work clothes are in a bundle under my arm. I'll hang them up to air out tonight, wash them on Sunday. That's the routine. Dinner is simple. I heat up a can of beans on the communal hot plate, toast some bread, and eat standing up at the counter. Some men go to the mess hall for dinner, but I prefer to save the money. The mess hall charges 45 cents for dinner. I can make beans and toast for about a dime. While I'm eating, Tommy Cassidy comes in, fresh from his own shower, grinning as always. Jack, some of us are heading into town for drinks. You in? I shake my head. Not tonight. I'm beat. Come on, it's Friday. Live a little. Friday means nothing when you're working Saturday. Saturday's 6 hours, not 10. You can manage a few beers. He's not wrong, but I'm too tired. Next week, I tell him. I promise. Tommy shrugs. Your loss. More beer for me. He heads out with a group of other men, their voices fading as they walk toward the bus that runs into town. Boulder City has a few bars now. Unofficial, since the town is technically dry, where you can get beer and whiskey if you know where to look. I've been a few times. It's nice enough, but tonight, I just want to sleep. I finish my beans, wash my plate and spoon in the sink, and head back to my bunk. It's only 7 p.m., but I'm ready for sleep. Tomorrow is Saturday, a 6-hour day instead of 10, but it's still work, still the rope, still the canyon wall. I lie down on my bunk and stare at the ceiling. The room is quiet now, most of the other men, either at dinner or in town drinking. This is the best time of day, honestly. The work is done, the body is clean, and sleep is approaching. I think about the dam, about the work we're doing, about what it'll look like when it's finished. They say it'll be the tallest dam in the world. They say it'll last 1,000 years. They say people will come from all over just to see it. I wonder if anyone will remember the high scalers, the men who hung from ropes and chipped rock and drilled holes and made the canyon walls safe. We won't have our names on any plaques. We won't be in any history books. We just labor, just bodies doing work that needs to be done. But we'll know. Those of us who survive this project, who walk away with all our limbs intact, who live long enough to see the dam completed, will know. We were here. We did this. We built something that'll outlast us by centuries. That has to count for something. My eyes are getting heavy. The ringing in my ears is fading. The aches in my muscles are settling into a dull background pain. This is as good as I'm going to feel until tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, I'll wake up at 4:30. I'll catch the bus down to the dam. I'll climb the ladder, clip onto my rope, descend to Sector 7, and pick up my jackhammer. I'll chip rock for 10 hours. Then I'll come home, shower, eat, and sleep. And the day after that, I'll do it again. And again. And again. That's the job. That's what we do. We're high scalers. We're building the Hoover Dam. We're making history, even if history will forget our names. If tonight's glimpse into 1934 brought back memories, whether your own or stories your father told you about the Depression, about construction work, about doing what needed to be done with the tools and skills you had, I'd be honored if you shared them in the comments. Your generation holds experiences that shaped everything that came after. The men who built the Hoover Dam, who worked heavy construction during the hardest economic times, who found ways to survive and even thrive when the world seemed to be collapsing. Those stories matter. And as I drift off, hanging between consciousness and sleep, I wonder if anyone will remember this day, this work, these hands. I wonder if the dam will stand as long as they say it will. I wonder if, centuries from now, people will look at it and understand the cost of building it, the sweat, the blood, the broken bones, the men who fell. Tomorrow, I wake up and do it all again. That's life. That's survival. That's making do with what you've got. The day ends, but the work never does. Now rest well, and I'll see you in the next one. But I'm not asleep yet. That's the thing about this work. Your body's exhausted, but your mind sometimes won't shut off. I'm lying here on this thin mattress, feeling every ache in my body, and my brain is still processing the day. Let me tell you what it's really like to be a high scaler. The parts they don't mention in the recruitment posters or the news articles about America's greatest construction project. The fear never really goes away. That's the first truth. Every single time I clip onto that rope and step off the platform, there's a moment of pure terror. Your stomach drops, your heart races, and some primal part of your brain screams that you're about to die. After 2 years, I'm better at managing that fear, at pushing it down and doing the work anyway. But it never disappears completely. Some men can't handle it. They try high scaling for a day, sometimes just a morning, and they climb back up and tell the foreman they're done. Nobody judges them for it. There's no shame in recognizing your limits. The construction company just moves them to a different crew, usually one of the concrete gangs or the equipment maintenance teams. The pay's less, but they can sleep at night. I've got a small photograph pinned to the wall by my bunk. Can barely see it in this light, but I know what it shows. It's my sister Margaret and her husband Tom, taken at their wedding 3 years ago in San Francisco. She's smiling, wearing a borrowed dress. Nice one too, borrowed from a friend who worked as a seamstress. Tom's in his Sunday suit, looking proud and young and hopeful. I wonder how they're doing. Last letter I got from Margaret was 6 months ago. She said Tom had found work at the shipyards, just 2 days a week, but it was something. She said they were making do, same as everyone. She didn't ask me for money, but I sent her $20 anyway, tucked into my return letter. That's a week's pay for me, after deductions for room and board. But family's family. I should write more, I know that. But what would I say? Dear Margaret, today I hung from a rope 400 feet up and chipped rocks for 10 hours. My hands hurt. The food's bad. I might die tomorrow. Hope you're well. There's not much to say about this life that wouldn't worry her. The truth is, I'm lonely here. That's another thing they don't mention. 6,000 men living in close quarters, but real friendship is rare. You're friendly with your work partners because you have to be. Your life depends on them and theirs depends on you. But deep friendship, the kind where you really talk about what's going on in your head, that's scarce. Maybe it's because we're all so tired all the time. You come back from a 10-hour shift. You don't have energy for deep conversations. You want food, a shower, and sleep. The next morning, you do it again. There's a weariness that settles into your bones, and it makes everything else seem like too much effort. Or maybe it's because nobody wants to get too attached. Men die here. Not often. The safety record is actually pretty good for a project this size. But it happens. About 1 man per week dies somewhere on this job site. Falls, mostly. Sometimes equipment malfunctions. Sometimes rock slides. Once, a cable on the cableway snapped, and an 8 cubic yard concrete bucket fell 300 feet and killed 2 men instantly. You learn not to get too close to people because you might have to attend their funeral. That's a dark thought, I know, but it's true. The men I work closest with, Mike Donahue, Tommy Cassidy, Frank O'Brien. I like them, I trust them, but I keep a certain distance. It's self-preservation. Those who served in Korea or Vietnam understand what I'm talking about. That military distance, where you're brothers in arms but you don't go too deep because you might lose them. Construction work during the Depression has some of that same quality. We're all here because we need the paycheck. We're all risking our lives for it, and we all know the odds. I hear Frank O'Brien come in. He's the quiet one, remember, sleeps across the room. He's been here since the very beginning of the project, one of the first 1,000 men hired. He's seen it all. He was here when they were still diverting the river through the tunnels, when they were excavating bedrock for the dam's foundation, when the first concrete was poured. 3 years of this work. I don't know how he does it. Evening, Jack, he says quietly. Evening, Frank. How was your shift? Same as always. Noisy, dusty, dangerous. You? About the same. He sits on his bunk and starts unlacing his boots. We don't talk more than that. Some men are comfortable with silence. Frank's one of them. Mickey Sullivan comes in a few minutes later. He's just finishing graveyard shift, which means he's been working from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. He looks exhausted, more exhausted than usual even. The graveyard shift is brutal. You working through the night when your body wants to sleep, trying to stay alert when everything in you says to shut down. The accident rate is higher on graveyard, not by much, but enough to notice. How was it, Mickey? I ask. Miserable, he says, sitting heavily on his bunk. Nearly fell asleep operating the hoist around 3 a.m. Had to slap myself in the face to wake up. You should tell the foreman, get moved to a different shift. He shakes his head. Graveyard pays an extra 25 cents an hour. I need that money, Jack. My mother's sick back in Chicago. She needs money for medicine. There it is again. The economic reality that drives everything here. Mickey's working a shift that's literally dangerous to his health because he needs an extra $2 a day to send home to his mother. That's not unusual. Every man here has a story like that. We're all here because we're desperate, because there are no other options, Because this job, dangerous as it is better than standing in a breadline or watching your family go hungry. I think about my own situation. I've got about $400 saved up. That's almost 3 months of wages, carefully hoarded, living as cheaply as possible. It's hidden in an envelope sewn into my mattress. Not the best hiding place, but better than keeping it in my locker. $400. That's my nest egg. That's my security against the day when this job ends or when I can't do it anymore. Some men drink their paychecks. They come back from Boulder City or Las Vegas drunk and broke, and by Monday they're asking for advances on next week's pay. I don't judge them. Everyone handles desperation differently, but I can't afford to be one of those men. I send money home to Margaret when I can. I save what I'm able, and I live on what's left. It's not much of a life, but it's sustainable. The room is settling into nighttime routine now. Men coming in from various shifts, men preparing to leave for graveyard, men sleeping, men writing letters, men just staring at the ceiling like I am. This is what life looks like in a Depression-era labor camp. It's not romantic. It's not adventurous. It's just grinding, repetitive, exhausting work in exchange for enough money to survive. But here's the thing, and this is important. We're doing something significant. We're building the Hoover Dam. When it's completed, it will be the largest concrete structure in the Western Hemisphere. It will control flooding on the Colorado River, preventing the kind of disasters that used to wipe out farms and towns downstream. It will provide irrigation water for agriculture throughout the Southwest. It will generate electricity for Los Angeles, for Las Vegas, for Phoenix, for dozens of smaller cities and towns. Millions of people will benefit from this dam. We're part of something bigger than ourselves. That matters. When you're lying on a thin mattress in a plywood dormitory, aching from head to toe, wondering if tomorrow's the day you fall, that thought helps. You're not just earning a paycheck. You're building something that will outlast you by centuries. Your generation understands this better than most. You built things meant to last. You understood that. Good work, honest labor, creating something solid and real. That mattered. The men who built the Hoover Dam, we shared that understanding. We knew we were part of something important. Let me tell you more about the engineering marvel we're creating, because it is genuinely remarkable. The dam is 660 feet thick at its base and 45 feet thick at the crest. That's not a typo. 660 feet of solid concrete at the bottom, tapering up to 45 feet at the top. The arch design distributes the water pressure into the canyon walls, rather than letting it push against the dam face. Brilliant engineering. The concrete is being poured in interlocking blocks, not all at once. If they tried to pour 706 feet of concrete in one continuous operation, it would take 125 years for the chemical heat from the curing concrete to dissipate. The center of the dam would still be liquid, while the outside had hardened. So instead, they're pouring in blocks about 50 feet square and 5 feet tall. Each block has cooling pipes running through it. They pump refrigerated water through the pipes to cool the concrete artificially, bringing the curing time down to manageable levels. Ingenious. I learned all this from an engineer I met in the mess hall one evening. He was excited to explain it to someone who was actually interested. Most of the laborers don't care about the engineering. They just want to do their work and collect their pay. But I'm curious. I want to understand what we're building. The engineer told me they're using enough concrete to pave a 2-lane highway from San Francisco to New York. The steel reinforcement alone weighs 45 million pounds. The total cost of the project is $49 million. It's mind-boggling. The largest public works project in American history, and I'm part of it. That thought helps when the work feels meaningless, when you're so tired you can barely stand, when you're questioning why you're risking your life for $5.50 a day. You're part of something historic. That counts for something. My thoughts are wandering now, that drowsy feeling finally setting in. Tomorrow's Saturday, 6-hour shift instead of 10. That's something to look forward to. Get off work at noon, have the whole afternoon free. Maybe I'll go into Boulder City, maybe see a movie at the theater if they're showing something good. Or maybe I'll just lie here on my bunk and read. I've got a Western novel I borrowed from Tommy, something about cowboys and cattle rustlers. Not great literature, but it passes the time. I close my eyes. The room is settling into sleep now. Fewer voices, less movement. The men who are sleeping are snoring or breathing deeply. The men who are awake are mostly quiet, lost in their own thoughts like I am. Tomorrow I'll wake up before dawn. I'll put on my stiff work clothes. I'll ride the bus down to the dam. I'll climb the ladder, clip onto my rope, and descend to wherever Frank Sullivan tells me to work. I'll spend 6 hours chipping rock, or drilling holes, or setting charges, or whatever needs doing. Then I'll come back, shower, eat, and have a few hours of freedom before I do it all again on Monday. That's the rhythm of this life. Work and rest, each day bleeding into the next, marked only by paychecks every 2 weeks. It's monotonous, it's exhausting, it's dangerous, and it's the best job I've had in 5 years. I'm drifting now, that pleasant space between waking and sleeping. My body is sinking into the thin mattress. The aches are fading into background noise. The ringing in my ears is almost gone. Tomorrow's concerns are problems for tomorrow's Jack. Right now, I'm just grateful for rest. Somewhere in the distance, I hear the sound of trucks on the road, the rumble of equipment at the dam site. The work never stops there. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, men are working. Concrete is being poured, steel is being placed. The dam is growing, inch by inch, foot by foot, rising toward that final height of 726 feet. And tomorrow, I'll be part of that. I'll add my small contribution to this massive project. Another day's work. Another set of rock chips at the base of the canyon. Another set of anchor holes drilled. Another section of wall made safe for the crews that follow. It's honest work, hard work, important work. That's something. My last conscious thought before sleep takes me as this. I wonder what people will think when they see this dam 50 years from now, 100 years from now. Will they understand what it took to build it? Will they know about the men who hung from ropes, who worked in heat that could kill you, who risked their lives every single day? Will they remember us? Probably not. History remembers the engineers, the politicians, the big names. The laborers get forgotten. But we'll know. Those of us who survive this project, who see it through to completion, who can look at that finished dam and say, I helped build that, will know, and maybe that's enough. I wake up to the alarm again. 4:30 a.m., Saturday morning. My body knows the routine by now. The difference is psychological. Today's only 6 hours, not 10. That makes it bearable. The room is colder than usual. I can see my breath in the pre-dawn darkness. Must have gotten down close to freezing last night. I pull on my work clothes quickly, trying to preserve whatever body heat I have. The canvas pants are ice cold and stiff as cardboard. The shirt isn't much better. This time of year, you never really get warm until the sun comes up and you've been working for an hour or two. Tommy's still sleeping in the bunk above me. Lucky bastard doesn't have to work until Sunday. I try to be quiet as I gather my things. Lunch pail, gloves, hat, and head for the door. A few other men are stirring, the early risers like me who have Saturday shifts. Outside, the stars are still brilliant in the desert sky. You don't get stars like this in San Francisco, where the fog rolls in and the city lights wash out the heavens. Out here in Nevada, the Milky Way is a river of light across the sky. It's beautiful in a cold, distant way. The kind of beauty that reminds you how small you are, how insignificant your problems are in the grand scheme of things. The bus ride down to the dam is the same as always. Bone-rattling, dusty, cold. We passed the same landmarks. The turn where you can first see the dam, the supply yard, the concrete mixing plant perched on the canyon rim like an industrial cathedral. Everything's familiar now. After 2 years, this commute is as routine as breathing. At the dam site, I clock in 5:43 a.m. and head straight to the high-scaler shack. Frank Sullivan is there as always, looking like he never actually sleeps, but just stands in the shack waiting for us to arrive. "Morning, Tierney," he says. "Morning, Frank. Where am I today?" He consults his clipboard. "Arizona Wall again, Sector 8, this time. You're solo today. Donahue's got a different assignment. Think you can handle it?" "Yes, sir. Working solo isn't ideal, but it's not uncommon on Saturdays when the crews are smaller. You've just got to be more careful, more attentive to your equipment. Nobody's there to spot mistakes or warn you about dangers. It's all on you." I suit up, harness, gloves, hat, and gather my gear. Same routine as always. Check the rope, check it again, check it a third time. Load the tool bag, coil the rope and sling it over my shoulder, walk to the base of the wall. The climb up is easier this morning. Maybe it's because I know it's only 6 hours. Maybe it's because the weekend energy is different, slightly more relaxed, slightly less pressured. Or maybe my body is just adjusting to this work after 2 years, building the muscle memory and stamina required. At the platform, I tie off my rope, clip my harness, check everything twice, and go over the edge. The descent is smooth, controlled, almost meditative. Hand over hand, boots against rock, the world dropping away beneath me. There's a moment about halfway down when you're so far from both the platform above and the ground below that you feel suspended in space, held by nothing but rope and faith. It's terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. Sector 8 is similar to Sector 7. Stratified volcanic rock, some loose sections that need to be removed, anchor holes that need to be drilled. The work is identical, only the location changes. I settle onto my bosun's chair, pull out the jackhammer, connect the airline, and start working. The sun rises as I'm working, painting the canyon walls in shades of orange and red and gold. The Nevada desert sunrise is a spectacular thing. The light comes harsh and clean, no humidity to soften it, no pollution to dull it. Just pure, bright sunlight flooding the canyon, warming the rock, warming my back, warming my soul slightly. The work proceeds. Chip, chip, chip. Hours pass. My mind wanders to practical concerns. What will I do when this job ends? The dam is supposed to be finished by 1936. That's 2 more years? After that, what? Where will 6,000 men go when there's no more work here? Most of us will be unemployed again, back to breadlines and flop houses and desperation. I try not to think about that too much. 2 years is a long time. A lot can change. Maybe the depression will end. Maybe the economy will recover. Maybe there will be other jobs, other projects. Maybe I'll have saved enough money to do something different. Buy a small business, start a farm, go back to school. Maybe. Or maybe I'll be right back where I started, standing in a breadline in San Francisco, older and more worn out, but fundamentally in the same situation. That's the fear that keeps me up at night sometimes. The fear that all this work, all this risk, all this suffering is just temporary, and eventually I'll end up right back at the bottom with nothing to show for it except scars and aching joints. But I can't think about that now. Right now, there's just the work, the jackhammer, the rock, the rope, the canyon. Focus on what's in front of you. Do the job, collect the paycheck, survive another day. The mid-morning whistle blows. Break time. I shut off the jackhammer and just hang there for a few minutes, letting my body rest. My arms are already tired, my hands are numb, but it's manageable. Only 3 more hours to go. I can do 3 more hours. I pull out my canteen and drink deeply. The water is warm but wet, and that's all that matters. I eat one of my sandwiches, cheese and onion again, my standard. As I'm eating, I watch the activity below. The concrete crews are working, the cableway is running, the trucks are hauling materials. The whole construction site is a symphony of coordinated industrial effort. Thousands of men, hundreds of machines, all working toward a single goal. It's impressive when you step back and think about it. I finish my sandwich, stow the lunch pail, and get back to work. 3 more hours. Just 3 more hours, and then I'm done for the day. I can make it 3 more hours. The final hours of the shift pass in the usual way. Work, rest briefly, work some more. The sun climbs higher, the air gets warmer, the rock face heats up. By 11:30, I'm sweating through my shirt and my water is gone, but the end is in sight. At noon, the final whistle blows. Saturday's shift is done. I secure my equipment, clip everything to my harness, and begin the climb back up to the platform. The ascent is harder than usual. My arms are exhausted, but I push through. Hand over hand, legs pushing against the rock, slow and steady progress upward. At the platform, I collapse for a moment, just breathing, gathering strength for the ladder descent. Then I unclip from my rope, coil it properly, sling it over my shoulder, and start down the ladder. My legs are shaking by the time I reach the bottom. 6 hours of work in a harness, and my body is done. I return my equipment to the high scaler shack, clock out, 12:17 p.m., and catch the bus back to Boulder City. The ride back is quiet, everyone too tired to talk much. But there's a different quality to the exhaustion today. It's Saturday afternoon, we're done. The weekend stretches ahead. Or at least, what passes for a weekend when you're working 6-day weeks. Back in Boulder City, I head straight for the showers. The water feels glorious. I stand under the lukewarm spray for longer than usual, just enjoying the sensation of being clean, of not being coated in rock dust and sweat. Eventually, I force myself to leave. Other men are waiting for the shower, and I head back to the dormitory to change into clean clothes. It's 1:30 p.m. The whole afternoon stretches ahead. What to do with it? I decide to walk into Boulder City proper. The town center is about a mile from the dormitories, an easy walk in the afternoon sun. I stuff a few dollars in my pocket. Maybe I'll catch a movie, maybe I'll get a beer at one of the unofficial bars, maybe I'll just walk around and enjoy being somewhere that isn't a construction site or a dormitory room. The walk feels good. My legs are sore, but the movement helps work out the stiffness. The desert air is clean and dry. There are a few clouds in the sky, unusual for Nevada. Maybe rain coming in a day or two, though that seems unlikely. Rain in the desert is an event, not a regular occurrence. Boulder City's town center is a strange place. It's simultaneously too organized and too chaotic. The government laid out the streets in perfect grids, planted trees that are struggling in the desert climate, built administrative buildings and shops according to some bureaucrat's vision of what a town should look like. But the reality is messier. Men spill out of the few bars and restaurants, clustering on street corners, arguing about sports or politics or work. There's a roughness to the place, an edge that comes from 6,000 men living on top of each other, with limited outlets for entertainment or stress relief. I pass the theater. They're showing a Western Tom mix in something called Rustler's Roundup. I've seen enough real desert to last a lifetime. I don't need to watch a romanticized version on screen. I keep walking. There's a small library in town, one of the government buildings. I head that way. The library is quiet, cool, a refuge from the noise and heat. There are maybe a dozen people inside, mostly reading newspapers or magazines. I browse the shelves for a while, eventually settling on a book about the Panama Canal. Another massive construction project, another story of men building something enormous under difficult conditions. Maybe I'll find some kinship in those pages. I check out the book and find a quiet corner to sit and read. For the next 2 hours, I'm transported to Panama in the early 1900s, reading about mosquitoes and yellow fever, about excavating millions of cubic yards of earth, about engineering problems that seemed impossible until someone solved them. It's fascinating stuff. The men who built the Panama Canal faced challenges we can't imagine. At least we're not dying of tropical diseases by the thousands. When I finally look up from the book, it's after 4 p.m. My stomach is reminding me I haven't eaten since my sandwich on the canyon wall. Time to find some food. I return the book to the circulation desk. I'll finish it tomorrow and head to the diner on Main Street. It's more expensive than cooking in a dormitory, but Saturday afternoon feels like a time to splurge. I order the meatloaf special, 55 cents for meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans, and coffee. It arrives quickly, and it's hot and reasonably good. Not great, but good enough. After weeks of simple sandwiches and canned beans, it tastes like a feast. While I'm eating, Tommy Cassidy spots me and slides into the booth across from me. "There you are," he says. "I've been looking for you. A bunch of us are heading into Las Vegas tonight. You in?" Las Vegas is about 30 miles from here, accessible by bus if you're willing to pay the fare. It's where the men go when they want real entertainment: casinos, shows, women, all the vices you can't find in government-controlled Boulder City. "Not tonight, Tommy," I say, unbeat. "You're always beat. Come on, Jack, live a little. When's the last time you had any fun?" He's not wrong. When was the last time I had fun? Weeks ago, at least. Maybe longer. But I'm also trying to save money, and a night in Las Vegas will cost $10 or $15 minimum. That's 3 days' wages, gone in a few hours of entertainment. I probably won't even remember clearly. "Not tonight," I repeat, "but thanks for the invite." Tommy shakes his head. "You're no fun anymore, you know that?" "Inconsistent. That's different than no fun." He grins. "Fair enough, but you're coming next week. I'm not taking no for an answer." "We'll see." He leaves to join his group, and I finish my meatloaf in peace. Through the diner window, I watch Boulder City's Saturday evening come to life. Men in clean clothes walking with purpose, heading toward whatever entertainment they can find. A few couples, married workers with their wives walking together, a rare sight in this male-dominated space. Life continuing, despite the depression, despite the hardship, despite everything. I pay for my meal, leave a 10-cent tip, and walk back toward the dormitories. The sun is setting now, painting the desert sky in shades of orange and purple. The air is cooling rapidly. By midnight, it'll be cold again. That's the desert extremes of temperature, extremes of everything. Nothing moderate or comfortable about it. Back in the dormitory room, I find it empty. Everyone's either in town or working graveyard shift. I've got the place to myself, a rare luxury. I lie down on my bunk and stare at the ceiling, thinking about nothing in particular. Tomorrow is Sunday, my one day off. I'll sleep late, maybe until 7 a.m., which counts as late in my world. I'll do laundry, wash my work clothes in the concrete sinks behind the building, hang them out to dry in the desert sun. I'll read more of the Panama Canal book. Maybe I'll write a letter to Margaret, tell her I'm doing fine, send her a few more dollars if I can spare them. And then Monday morning it all starts again. 4:30 wake up, bus to the dam, 10 hours on the canyon wall, return, shower, eat, sleep, repeat. And that's the rhythm of this life. I've been doing it for 2 years. I might do it for 2 more. After that, who knows? I close my eyes and let my body relax. The aches are still there. They're always there, but they're bearable. My hands are cramped. My back is sore. My knees ache, but I'm intact. I'm employed. I'm surviving. In 1934, that's about as much as anyone can ask for. Tomorrow's Sunday. 1 day of rest. I'll take it. 7:15 a.m. I wake up naturally, no alarm needed. Sleeping in until 7:15 feels like the height of luxury after a week of 4:30 alarms. The room is warmer than usual. The sun's been up for a while, heating the plywood walls and metal roof. I lie there for a few minutes, just enjoying the feeling of not having to rush anywhere. This is my time. 24 hours that belong to me, not to the 6 companies construction firm, not to the Hoover Dam, not to Frank Sullivan or any other foreman. Mine. Eventually, I drag myself out of bed. The dormitory is mostly empty on Sunday morning. Some men are sleeping off Saturday nights drinking. Others are at the mess hall for breakfast. A few are already gone into town or off on hikes in the desert. Sunday is everyone's to use as they see fit. I grab my dirty work clothes, 2 sets, both filthy beyond belief, and head to the washing area behind the dormitories. This is a large concrete pad with several deep sinks and scrub boards. You do your laundry by hand here, the old-fashioned way. There are a few men already washing clothes when I arrive, scrubbing vigorously at stained fabric, rinsing in cold water, wringing out, and hanging to dry. I fill a sink with cold water, add a handful of soap powder bought from the company store for 10 cents, and dump in my first set of work clothes. The water turns instantly gray from the accumulated dust and sweat. I scrub the pants on the washboard, working the soap into the fabric, paying special attention to the knees and seat where the grime is worst. Then the shirt, scrubbing the collar and underarms. The water is disgusting by the time I'm done. I drain the sink, refill with clean water for rinsing, and repeat the process with the second set of work clothes. By the time I'm finished, my hands are cold and wrinkled from the water, and I've gone through 3 complete sinkfuls. But the clothes are clean, or at least as clean as they're going to get. Some stains are permanent. I wring out each garment as thoroughly as I can, then carry them to the clotheslines and hang them up. In this dry desert air, they'll be completely dry by evening. By Monday morning, they'll be ready to get dirty all over again. Laundry done, I head back to my room to clean up. I shave for the first time in a week, standing at the small mirror with my straight razor, scraping away the stubble carefully. The razor needs sharpening. I'll have to take it to the barber shop this week and pay 25 cents for a proper straightening. But for now, it does the job well enough. Clean shaven, dressed in my best civilian clothes, which aren't saying much, just less worn than my other clothes. I grab the Panama Canal book and walk into town. It's a beautiful Sunday morning, warm but not hot, with a slight breeze from the west. The library is open on Sunday afternoons, but not Sunday mornings. I walk past it and continue to the small park at the edge of town. Calling it a park is generous. It's really just a cleared area with some imported grass that's barely surviving, a few young trees, and some wooden benches. But it's green space, which is rare in the desert, and it's peaceful. I find a bench in the shade and settle in to read. The Panama Canal book is fascinating. The section I'm reading now is about the Culebra Cut, where they had to excavate through a mountain ridge. The sides of the cut kept sliding down due to unstable soil, creating massive landslides that buried equipment and occasionally killed workers. They would clear a slide and another would happen. For years, it seemed like they were fighting a losing battle against geology itself. But they persevered. They adjusted their techniques, widened the cut, improved drainage, and eventually succeeded. The canal was completed. Ships began passing through, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The impossible became possible because men refused to give up. There's a lesson there. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but there's something. Maybe it's just that massive projects always seem impossible until they're done. Maybe it's that human ingenuity can overcome enormous obstacles if you're willing to pay the price. Maybe it's that the men doing the actual work rarely get remembered, but their work endures. I read for about an hour, then closed the book and just sit, watching Boulder City's Sunday unfold around me. A few children are playing in the park workers' families, the women who were brave or desperate enough to follow their husbands to this desert construction site. The children are running, laughing, just being kids despite the depression, despite the hardship, despite everything. Life continues. A young couple walks past, holding hands. They're probably newlyweds. Nobody else looks that happy in Boulder City. I wonder what their story is. Did they meet here, two desperate people finding each other in a labor camp? Or did they come here together, facing the depression as a team? Either way, there's something hopeful about seeing them together. Love persists even in the hardest times. I think about my own lack of romantic prospects. 2 years in Boulder City, and I haven't so much as talked to a woman beyond basic politeness. The ratio here is probably 100 men to 1 woman, and most of those women are already married. Even if I were interested in pursuing something, the opportunities simply don't exist. But honestly, I'm not sure I have the energy for romance anyway. After 10 hours of physical labor, the last thing I want to do is put on a good face and try to impress someone. I just want to eat and sleep. Maybe when this job ends, when I'm doing something less exhausting, I'll think about finding someone. But not now, not here. Around noon, my stomach starts complaining. I walk to the diner and order a roast beef sandwich and a glass of milk. It cost 40 cents total, which feels extravagant, but it's Sunday. I'm allowed to splurge slightly on Sunday. While I'm eating, I overhear 2 men at the next table talking about the news. Something about Germany, about a guy named Hitler, about politics getting strange over there. I don't follow international news much. I barely follow American news, but apparently things are happening in Europe that might matter eventually. The men are debating whether America will get involved, whether we'll end up in another war like the Great War that ended 16 years ago. I hope not. The men who fought in that war, the ones who came back, they're damaged in ways that don't always show. I've worked with a few of them, and you can see it in their eyes sometimes, a distance, a haunted quality. Another war would be a disaster. But politicians do what politicians do, and working men like me don't have much say in those decisions. After lunch, I walk back to the library. It's open now, and I return the Panama Canal book. I browse for a while and check out something different, a novel this time, a mystery by Dashiell Hammett. Sometimes you need facts and history. Sometimes you need escapist fiction. Today feels like a fiction day. I take the book back to the park and read for another couple of hours, losing myself in a world of detectives and criminals in San Francisco streets I used to know. It's pleasant to be somewhere else mentally, even if it's just a book. By mid-afternoon, I'm getting restless. I've been sitting for hours, and my body wants movement. I decide to take a walk out into the desert, away from Boulder City, away from the dam, away from people and industrial noise. I walk south, following a faint trail that leads into the open desert. The landscape is harsh and beautiful, rocky outcroppings, sparse vegetation, vast sky. The silence is remarkable after weeks of construction site noise. Just wind, the occasional bird, the sound of my own boots on stone and sand. About a mile out, I find a large flat rock and sit down, just looking at the landscape. This is what the desert was like before the dam, before the construction camps, before 6,000 men invaded Black Canyon. Silent, vast, indifferent to human activity. In a few years, this area will be underwater, part of Lake Mead. But right now, it's still desert, still untouched. I think about what we're doing to this landscape. We're flooding it, changing it permanently, altering the natural flow of the Colorado River. Is it worth it? The dam will prevent floods, provide irrigation, generate electricity. Millions of people will benefit. But we're destroying something in the process, something that existed for thousands of years. I don't have an answer to that question. I'm just a laborer. I do the work I'm hired to do. But sitting here on this rock, looking at the desert that will soon be gone, I feel the weight of it. We're building something enormous, but we're also destroying something irreplaceable. Both things are true at once. I sit there for maybe an hour, just being quiet, letting my mind empty out. This is meditation, though I wouldn't call it that. I just call it being still, being present, not thinking about work or money or the future or anything else. Just sitting. Eventually, the sun starts dropping toward the western horizon, and I realize I should head back. I don't want to be walking through the desert in darkness. I stand up, stretch, and start back toward Boulder City. By the time I reach the dormitory, the sun is setting. My laundry is dry on the clotheslines. I gather it, fold it roughly, and store it in my locker. Tomorrow morning, I'll put on one of these sets of clean work clothes, and the cycle will begin again. I eat a simple dinner in the dormitory. More canned beans, some bread, an apple. I write a brief letter to Margaret, just a few lines saying well, hope she and Tom are doing okay. Here's $10. Love to you both. I seal the letter, address it, and set it aside to mail tomorrow. Then I lie down on my bunk and read more of the mystery novel. It's entertaining enough, though not as compelling as the Panama Canal book. Still, it passes the time pleasantly. Around 8 p.m., I set the book aside and just lie there, staring at the ceiling. Tommy comes in around 9, slightly drunk but in good spirits. He flops onto his bunk above me and starts telling me about Las Vegas, about the casino he went to, the money he lost, the show he saw. He's happy, energized by the experience. I'm glad he had a good time. You should have come, Jack, he says again. Would have done you good. Maybe next time. You always say that. This time, I mean it. He laughs. Sure you do. Anyway, I'm beat. Night, Jack. Night, Tommy. The room settles into its nighttime quiet. Men returning from various activities, getting ready for bed, settling in for sleep. Tomorrow's Monday. The work week starts again. 10-hour shifts, 6 days straight, then Sunday off. That's the pattern. Week after week, month after month. I think about the 2 years I've been here, the 26 months of this routine. I think about the progress on the dam, how much higher it's gotten, how much closer to completion. I think about the men I've worked with, the ones who are still here and the ones who left, dead, injured, or just quit. I think about myself, about how I've changed in these 2 years. I'm harder now. Not cruel, just tougher, more resilient, more capable of enduring difficulty. The depression does that to people. It either breaks you, or it makes you capable of withstanding things you never thought you could handle. I've learned I can hang from a rope 400 feet up and do productive work. I've learned I can work 10 hours in heat that would incapacitate most people. I've learned I can live on minimal food and sleep and still function. Those are skills, even if they're not the kind anyone wants to put on a resume. But I've also lost things. Softness, maybe. Optimism about the future. The belief that hard work automatically leads to prosperity. I know better now. I know that you can work yourself to exhaustion and still barely scrape by. I know that the system is designed to benefit people who don't do physical labor at the expense of those who do. I know that men like me are expendable, replaceable, valued only for what we produce and discarded when we're no longer useful. Those are hard lessons, necessary lessons, maybe, but hard. I wonder what I'll be like when this job ends, when the dam is finished and I'm back out in the world looking for the next thing. Will I be better for this experience or just more broken? Will the skills I've learned here translate to anything useful in peacetime? Will I even survive the next 2 years to find out? No way to know. All I can do is show up tomorrow morning, do the work, survive another day, string together enough days, and eventually you've survived another year. String together enough years, and maybe you've built a life. Or maybe you've just delayed the inevitable. Hard to say. Outside, the desert night is cold and clear. Inside, the dormitory is settling into sleep. Tomorrow's Monday. 4:30 a.m. alarm. Bus down to the dam. 10 hours on the canyon wall. Return, shower, eat, sleep, repeat. That's the life I've chosen. Or that's been chosen for me. Or some combination of both. It's not much, but it's mine. It's honest work for honest pay. It's building something important. It's getting me through the depression one day at a time. And really, what else is there to ask for right now? Survival, employment, enough food to eat, a place to sleep. Those are luxuries in 1934. Millions of men would trade places with me in an instant. So I'll take what I have. I'll do the work. I'll hang from my rope and chip away at that canyon wall. I'll help build the Hoover Dam. And maybe someday, when this is all over, I'll look back and understand what it meant. Maybe I'll be proud of what we accomplished. Maybe I'll just be glad I survived. Either way, I'll have been here. I'll have been part of it. That counts for something. My eyes are heavy now. The familiar exhaustion is settling in. The body's demand for rest after a week of brutal labor. Tomorrow I'll be tired again, but tonight I can rest. Tonight I can let go of worry and doubt and just sleep. Tomorrow will take care of itself. It always does. Those of you who worked through the depression, who built things, who did what needed to be done with the tools and skills you had, you know what I'm talking about. You know the cost of building something that lasts. You know about the aching muscles and the worried thoughts and the calculation of every dollar. You know about showing up every day even when you're exhausted, even when you're scared, even when every part of you wants to quit. You know what it takes. If you got stories about that time, about the work you did, or the family members who did it, I'd be honored if you shared them below. Those stories matter. They're part of history that doesn't always make it into textbooks. They're the real story of how America got through the Depression, how we built things that are still standing, how we survived when survival seemed impossible. And as I drift off now, I'm thinking about the dam again, about what it'll look like when it's done, about the lake behind it, the electricity it'll generate, the farms it'll irrigate, about the hundreds of thousands of people who will benefit from it without ever knowing our names. That's okay. We'll know. We were here. We did this. We built the Hoover Dam. And that's enough. Tomorrow, I wake up and do it all again. That's life. That's survival. That's making something that'll outlast us all by centuries. The day ends. The work never ends. But tonight, just for tonight, I can rest. Now you rest well too. I'll see you in the next one.